All right. So I'm going to start. Holly, you can watch. And anyone else who's here, please say hello so I can see who's watching. Already preloaded this. This is a Dollar Tree 14-inch metal frame, but I have a lot of other brands now because they're not always. Hi, Renee. That's my sister Renee, sis Jet Renee. So I use this one because it's still divided in 6 and a lot of the others are divided in 7, but it's such a mess. It's hard to see what I did. Hello. I think that says Maria. Yes. Hello. So I'm just going to show you real fast. This is another one right here. I'm going to turn my light on. Maybe that will help. I don't know. So what I did was I put 6 pipe cleaners in each one of these 6 sections. Hope you can see that. And first for the navy blue, which is from Michael's from a couple years ago, but you can always use just a navy blue mesh and put stars on it. But since I had this, I'm using it. It's a very short roll, but I got them on sale for like $3. So what I did is I just booked 6 pipe cleaners in each section. Blah, blah, blah. So for the blue, I did 3 on the outside, like this. Ta-da! Hope you like my Xanadu shirt. I know my sister Cassie is going to be jealous, but she probably won't come on because this is early for her after work. So I put 3 on the outside. It's hard to see. And I'm going to put 3 on the inside. And then for the white and the red, I'm going to alternate them. Whoops. It's a really weird pipe cleaner. It's like a double one. I'm going to put white on the inside, white on the outside. Then I'm going to alternate and put red on the outside and the inside next for the stripes. These are not going to be, you're singing it in my head. This is not, listen, we love it. We saw it on Broadway. That was like one of our favorite movies growing up, even though the reviews are terrible. And I saw this on one of those Facebook ads and I actually had to have it. But I almost thought I was going to give it to her, but then I wanted it, so I might have to find one for her. So I'm wearing it, but she can fight me for it if she wants. So I'm just going to alternate like that for the stripes. So I'm going to put that over here. So this one is already done. Ta-da! I'm going to start with the blue. This blue is like a thick, I'm not even sure what it is, fabric or something. And these stars are like plasticky stuff like you would have on a t-shirt. Hi, Tanya. So I cut these and the other ones at approximately 12 inches. I'm not sure what I cut them at when I did this before. So I'm going with 12 inches because if I did 10 inches, this is just going to be better. So I'm just putting it down, curl side down. This isn't very curly, but if I'm using the red or the white, it's going to be curl side down. And I'm just going to scrunch up the middle. Just like I would for a cruffle, it's just much shorter. So I don't know what it's called when it's just this and there are no curls. You could certainly make it curly if you want. Please say hello if you're here. And then I'm just going to put it in this way. Here. You could do the whole outside first and go back and do the whole inside like I normally would for other things, but I did not make this that way. And in fact, when I made it originally, I did a couple of them with zip ties to be in a hurry. I think the one at my mother's house I did with zip ties, and I had her take a picture of the back of it so I could see exactly what my pattern was. So same thing. I did not make these ahead of time because I didn't know if my curl holder would keep them together anyway. Please say hello if you're here because I see that there are several people here and I would love to see who you are. So same thing, just scrunching up the middle. And if you want to tuck the ends under the unfinished edges, you can do that. But really, it's going to be the finished edges that are showing because once this is full, they're going to kind of pop up. so the finished edges are going to be up. This blue doesn't really fray, but the poly burlap does. Poly burlap does. So once others are in here, it's going to come up like this, all the way around. You can certainly add ribbons to it if you want. I didn't. I just left it simple and let the mesh kind of speak for itself. And it was very popular several years ago. I think I made 5 or 6 of these. So keep going in the blue section. The blue is pretty easy to do because it's so thick and you're not worried about it fraying. You could even use a fabric for this, like an actual thick fabric if you wanted. Do I have comments that I don't see, or are you guys being awfully quiet? So I'm going to stick this one in and kind of push up on the other one. You're singing Xanadu. I love it. I think I'm going to have to find that on streaming and watch it now that I have this shirt. So it's going to push up like this. You could make it cruffly. I just didn't want this to be curly. Not everything has to be curly. I'm sure these have a name when you just scrunch it up and you don't curl it. I actually learned this before Cruffles, so I used it a lot right at the same time. I actually did a bumblebee wreath with it as well. And it's just super simple. In fact, my sister Renee was actually at my house when I was making the one for my mom, and I did it so fast she could bring it home with her to Arizona.
4 cat, 5, 4 cat.
Well, I don't know if you're commenting or not, but I don't see any comments, so the last one I have is Holly singing in her head. So I apologize if you're commenting and I'm not answering. They're just not showing to me right now. Somebody say, oh, you think it's called a ruffle? Oh, okay. Oh, whoops, I gotta do not disturb on my phone because I just got a text.
Dude, okay.
Here we go. It's actually a friend from Facebook. I should tell her I'm live. I'm going to do that in a second. Maybe she'll pop on. Yeah, maybe it's called a ruffle. I don't know. I learned it first, and it just made my wreaths very full without being curly, and I could add ribbons or not. So I really like that about it. I'm going to tell her. Sorry for those of you who don't come here for conversations. I'm doing the best I can. I know that there are going to be people who maybe watch this afterwards or pop on now, and they're going to not like that there's a lot of conversation, but that's really the difference between going live and just doing a regular tutorial. Going live is more of a conversation. If people are commenting, then you're going to discuss things, and it's probably going to take a longer time. My lives have never really been long, but I've been to many who are 2 or 3 hours, and it's just like a big party, and everybody's talking and having fun and like catching up. So this is not going to be fast like that. I will probably edit it before I put it on YouTube so that it is. So that's how it's looking so far. See how many blue I have left. So I have 6 more blue. You are welcome to make the blue section bigger. I used 12 because I don't have as much blue, but also I didn't want the whole thing to be the blue and white stars. My mother would very much like this section. Hi, Cindy. Cindy is also my friend. Hi, Patty. Patty and Cindy are both here. Welcome. Cindy is my friend. She's an author poet. She has a book, Shades of a Broken Heart, and she's working on another book. And Patty is also an amazing wreath maker and creator of new things that she shares with us, petals and other things. So just like Holly. So there it is so far. I'm so glad that you came. Cindy. I'm so glad that you text so I can tell you to come. So the only reason I'm doing these on air, and I know other people do them on air, is because I don't think that they'll stay in the curl holder, but I didn't really try. It's possible that they would. Like my cruffles. I always make my cruffles ahead of time and put them in my curl holder. From Made by Monroe Designs. These might have worked, but I'm not sure. But this is the greatest thing ever. You love the Blue Star material. It was like in the patriotic section. It comes on a roll. It was with like the holiday mesh, but it was very short, like 10 feet or something. So I went online the following year and I found it like in a sale and I got a whole bunch of them. So it really is like a fabric. It's like a thick fabric. I don't know what it's made out of. I was able to cut it with a wood burning tool, although I would not advise it because that was so noxious. So I think that once I add the red and the white, this blue section is going to be more than big enough. It's all going to get smushed together. Yes, that is such a pretty material. It really is. I don't know if they still have it. You can check online, but I loved it. And I would use it for a lot of things because in many ways it's better than fabric. It's thicker than most fabrics. Hello, I think that says Karen. And I can't get the comments. Oh, yeah, I can see it on my phone too. Oh, whoops. I only have 2 more blue to do. I was about to put this in the red section. That is why I color-coded my pipe cleaners. You could just use all white pipe cleaners. They're not going to show really. But going live and already being like kind of amped up, I thought if I don't color code them, I have no chance of doing this right. Bye, Timmy.
Bye, Mommy.
So I worked really hard to find all the correct. You would cut it with a wood burning tool. I think if I had a mask and I was outside, cutting the material was fine. It was if I had to go through one of the stars. Oh, hello, you're from Houston. We lived in Houston when I was a little kid, and my sister Renee, who is watching, I don't know what I did. I just totally clicked this wrong. I think I combined the inside and the outside for this one. That's what happens when I'm making them off camera, so it should just happen when I'm on here. But anyway, we grew up in Houston when we were kids from, I think I was ages 4 to 12. And then my little sister Renee was born there. Now I'm a Jersey girl, so I'm sure it's hot in Texas right now in Houston. It's a very hot, humid area. I remember my parents lived there for a long time. Later, my dad worked there for years and years until he retired. Loved visiting. All right, the blue section is now complete, and that is how it looks. Hello from Maine, Carol. Maine is one of my favorite places in the world to visit. I've been to Bar Harbor twice. It was fabulous. And the food is absolutely amazing. So here is where the alternating red and white is going to be. This is a mesh. This was in the mesh section of the patriotic stuff with at Michael's a couple years ago. It was probably 3 years ago, and then 2 years ago I ordered a whole bunch more. Regular price, this was $10, which was really a total ripoff because it's only 10 feet long. But when I got it after the fact on Michael's website, it was like $3 or $4, so it was worth it because this is very thick. It's like fabric, but it's on a roll with the mesh. So I'm going to put these away. I will look later and see if it still exists on Michael's website or somewhere else. I guess that's Celebration brand or whatever. But it's one of my favorite things I've ever bought. They have had other things in that texture that I haven't been able to use for fall and other things. So I don't know. So here we are with the poly burlap. And I will tell you the one big thing I learned about this wreath with the poly burlap. How many rolls did I use of the Blue Star mesh? If I cut it at 12 inches and used 12 pieces, it was probably around a roll, maybe a little bit more. I mean, somebody do the math and tell me how that compares to 10 feet. You can certainly cut the pieces a little bit smaller, like 10 inches. The first one of these that I made, the first two that I made, I only used 9 pieces. So I used an exact roll when I made it. And then my mother asked for more, and I happened to have more. So here I'm using 12, but I think you could get away with 8 or 9 pieces and still get the same look, because I believe that's what I did the first time. So the one thing I learned when I made this originally, my sister Cassie has one, and my mom has one, and both my mom in Arizona and my sister Cassie in Western Pennsylvania, and they both get a lot of direct sun on their doors. So the red faded. The blue didn't because it was fabric, but if you use blue poly burlap, it will. So make sure that you spray it. You're welcome. Make sure that you spray it with something that's going to have some UV protection in it. I don't have a can handy, but I have something like that, like an acrylic sealer, some kind of clear spray that has UV in it, because her red, my sister's red, is very faded, so I'm going to replace the red when I go to her house next. I kept meaning to do that, and I haven't. So when you're using the poly burlap, you have to be a little more gentle. It's going to fray, but hopefully you're going to not really see the tucked edges. But when you do spray it, if you have to cut any like flyaway, frayed pieces off, when you do spray it, that should help. I also have been known to use, I think it's E6000 has a spray adhesive, and I have been known to use that on mesh wreaths to keep them from fraying, especially with the poly burlap. If you kind of spray it on the unfinished edges, it stiffens and hardens it a little bit, and it helps with the fraying. That's true with ribbons. I don't know how many of you have ribbons that fray, but if you don't get fancy designer ribbons very often, when you dovetail them and you manipulate them a lot, they fray. So here we go with the red. I wish that I had all the colors in that fabric, honestly. Hi, Jen. Oh, I have so many of my friends here watching. I appreciate it so much. But I've never seen it in red or white. So if you find a very thick fabric that you like, and you can get it 10 inches wide and cut it at whatever length you like, certainly that would work. I did make a patriotic wreath last year with just fabric for a friend, and I let the fabric kind of fray at the end, so it had a rustic vibe. I may do that one as well live in the next couple weeks, because I know the patriotic designs are already coming out, and it's going to be a big thing this year especially. So this is how it looks. Whoops. There's so many pipe cleaners, just like when I did my heart, that I kind of get stuck in there. Hi, Teresa. Welcome. I did it with zip ties, like I said before, and in some ways that's easier because you can do it. And I did it still around the 2 bars and then slide it over, which I can actually do if I pull these pipe cleaners this way a little bit. I can slide it over. But once you get to the last section, it's super crowded. That always happens in kind of design this way. So still scrunching up through the middle, very simple. I did wood burn these as well, but like I said, the unfinished edges, especially on the poly burlap, are very, very likely to fray. It's almost impossible, even with the wood burning tool, to keep them from fraying. You can really just cut the frayed pieces and hopefully spray it with something, or, depending on what kind of design you're making, they'll be tucked under anyway. So there it is with the first white piece. I really do think you can get away with less blue. I went by my mother's wreath because I had her take a picture of it for me, and I remember her specifically requesting more blue. My mom never really takes the designs, how I design them. She always has something to say about how she wants hers to be, a little different. Even when I was making things for other people. Oops, that's white. I need red. No, I don't. When I was making things for other people, she always had an opinion of how the ribbon should go and how the flower should go. Very creative that way, but also a little bit bossy. So if you ever ask for a wreath and you want a bigger blue section or a bigger red section or a different type of mesh, you will be just like my mother. All right, there it is with red and white. So when this gets pushed, it's going to be like this. You can see it as a very big starred section. I don't have a schedule yet, Carol. I really prefer to go on Tuesdays because of other people I watch live, but I really wanted to get one in this week, and this was really the only time I could do it. So I think normally I like to go at, Tuesday at 6 or 7 Eastern. That's like a better time. For me, usually I've done it at 5 on Tuesday, but I really would like to start going live fairly regularly on Tuesdays. And I've said that for a while, but I think that that's going to be a goal I'm going to kind of stick with now. So keep reminding me, everyone. That's why I started the channel. So if you have not joined my channel, it's on my page. Do that after this live so that when I do go live, or have some other thing that I would really like you to know, it will come directly to your messenger. You won't be able to answer back unless it's a poll, but I didn't tell anybody about the channel until maybe like 2 days ago or yesterday or something, but I started it a while ago just to see, and then people joined it, which I was very appreciative of. So I only have close to maybe 115 or 120 joined now, but if you join that, which I have joined many of my friends, then it will let you know. I will let you know ahead of time, and I will let you know the same day, so that you can plan. But my goal is eventually to go live on Tuesdays. Oh, I did do what you wanted on yours, and that's really, like, even if it's a wreath I've already made, if you want it, a little customized. And anyone can ask about this one after if I can ever get this piece in. Because, like I said, I ended up making maybe 5 or 6 of them previously. My friend Deborah has one, my Aunt Maggie, my sister, my mom, I forget who else. So here's how it looks with the stripes. So I really just liked how those edges popped up, but there was no curl. So like I said before, if you want there to be a curl, you are more than welcome to make them more of a cruffle. I would suggest a shorter cruffle, maybe like, 18 inches, not a huge one. Because then it's going to get super fluffy. Excuse me, I'm drinking my decaf tea, which is not my favorite. I like calf, but I gave it up. Gave up caffeine. All right. Thank you so much, Jen. Jen has many of my recesses. My sister Cassie, who's not on here. My sister Renee has, a couple of Jack Skellington ones that I made, one of which I painted. When I started making wreaths, I almost always painted my own signs. I still occasionally do that. Jen, I think you have one that is painted. Hard Candy Christmas. And I started doing that because I couldn't find a sign that looked like what I wanted, and the painting part was also what I wanted to do. Like, it was also exceptionally therapeutic. So I would like to get back to that more often. Here we go so far. So I like the simplicity of this. I'm not going to add anything to it unless somebody says, hey, Shannon, I really would like to have that. Please, add ribbon or make a bow or whatever. Otherwise, I'm just going to leave it. You have to be careful with the pipe cleaner because that's really where the metal will fray, and hopefully you just won't see that because it's going to be pushed underneath. Poly burlap is probably my favorite kind of mesh, but it frays more than any of it. I like the soft look. I do use the shinier types of meshes now more than I used to, but I really prefer poly burlap, especially for flowers. So, all right, there is one more white. So I believe that I used 12 pieces of each of the mesh. So, and like I said, I cut it 12 inches, but you could cut a little longer if you want, or you could cut it 10 inches. You do need to get another one, Jen. It's been a while. Maybe something summery. I have some summer things, and some spring things kind of sitting around waiting to be made. I'm going to make a flower probably later today or tomorrow and put a sunflower sign on it. I think I showed that on my page yesterday. If I can find it before I go, I'll show you guys. Otherwise, you can see it on my page. So after this, I'm going to have 2 more of the big sections to do after I put these 2 white in. And hopefully I counted the pieces correctly, but if I didn't, you will get to see me use my wood burning tool. Hopefully I won't have to do that. I don't know what time it is, except I have a watch on, so I should just check it. It's 4:30, so I don't think that this is going to be too long. The last slide that I did was that big poofy heart. I like horizontal wide stripe mesh too. I use it for dragons, and I've used it for petals. I don't use it for some things because I want a softer look, and the horizontal wide stripe is more of a plastic look. But I do really like it, and it rarely frays. So I do use it. I've used it sometimes in things other than petals and dragons, and it does give like a nice pop to it. Like I won't use just that. I'll use that kind of in like the color that pops. But it is a little bit, it's thick. So when you cruffle it and things like that, it stays, but it's harder for me to like get it there. But I think let me see if I have a horizontal wide stripe. I know that Holly has said over and over again that she has never used it. This is stuck from being my thing, but this is a horizontal wide stripe, and I use this for cartoon mouse with the bow on her head. I'm not going to say her name out loud because mine was just a cartoon mouse. Might remind you of someone you know. So now we have 2 sections left. So you can see that blue section really is big. And then when I talked to my mom last night, she said to make the blue section bigger, but we're not going to do that because it's plenty big. I feel like I don't have enough white mesh, or I dropped some on the floor, but we're going to find out. You do need to get some, they do have it on a Craft Outlet. I don't think it's very expensive, but I really like it for petals. And I really like it, like when I make the dragons, I use the horizontal wide stripe for like maybe the black or something. And then I use a really, really foily, sparkly, iridescent one for the pop of color. A lot of people use poly burlap. A lot of people use horizontal wide stripe for dragons and petals. It is a great mesh. I would never have heard of it if I hadn't started making dragons, though, because it's very commonly used in that. So we're coming along here. I'm so thankful I color-coded my pipe cleaners because my nail is getting stuck in the mesh, because I know I would have messed up like 1,000 times already on this. On what color I was on. I don't know, it might be easier to do the outside first and then the inside. Okay, I will, Jen. And then you can tell me if you want it simple like this or whatever. I don't know if it'd be easier to go back and do the inside row second. I never did it that way. It might have been. I'll let you know if I make another one, if I think it is. I think that it starts to get crowded no matter what color you use. I mean, what method you use. Anytime you have mesh that's kind of poofy and sticking up, it gets very crowded. I don't know what I did. I think I used, there we go. So I found the white pipe cleaners. They were kind of stuck under the last piece. I can already see some of the underneath fraying, but it's the the factory edges that are sticking up here. All of the things you see in the, surface coming up are the factory edges. So I don't think that you're going to see the fraying. I don't remember that being a huge problem. I think if you look at it from the back, you will see some of the fraying. But like I said, I would totally spray it. Almost always. Thanks, Holly. You know what? I don't always color code them like this, but I really had a feeling that if I didn't color code these, I would really mess it up. And I am correct, because I almost messed it up multiple times. So it's a good thing that I color coded them. I think with patriotic designs, especially where you want to make sure that you're alternating colors, that it is helpful to color code them. And I had all the colors, which was good. I don't always. A lot of times I'm stuck with just white. But my stash of pipe cleaners is out of control right now. So that's a good thing. I got a whole bunch when I was in Arizona because they put me to work, and I made 4 wreaths while I was there. But one thing that I wanted to do is I wanted to try to make one of those flowers or bouquets or something with the pipe cleaners. You know how people do that? So maybe someday, in my free time, I will actually do that. Has anybody here ever made those or know what I'm talking about? I think they're really cool. Okay. So we're getting there. I know I'm not holding it properly, but we're getting there. Like I said, if anybody came on later, please join my channel on my page. That is where you will get announcements or some posts in your messenger. So it's not, where you might not see it in your timeline, or you would have to come visit my page to check and see. All the people that I watch live, I follow their channels because it's very helpful, because some people just pop on. And if somebody says, hey, I'm popping on in 45 minutes, and they put it in their channel, then you can see it. Otherwise, you really, it's just the luck. So unless you're someone that's regular, like Holly is pretty regular about her YouTube is always on Thursday, but I don't know what you're doing on Facebook or if you have any more lives planned. But she also has a channel. All right. Getting so close to the end. I'm excited. Okay. The pipe cleaners are getting tangled here at the end with the other color. I'm not cutting the pipe cleaners as I go because, I don't know, I'm kind of a sock, shoe kind of person. So I cut them all at the end. And also, if you decide that you want to, maybe make the blue section smaller or the blue section larger, then you can remove things and still use the same pipe cleaner. For those of you who are huge zip tie fans, you're welcome to try this with zip ties. Also, I think I wanted to try it on a Unique in the Creek ring board, but I couldn't find one in my stash. I'm sure there's one there, but I think this would look fabulous on there. It just, your numbers would be different because the ring board has 18 rows, 16 rows. So your numbers would be different because this is always like multiples of 6. Okay. So I have one section left. Let me see, is that Michelle? Somebody named Michelle. Hi, Michelle, welcome to my page. I'm glad you stopped by. I'm creating this very simple patriotic wreath, but sometimes simple is better. I have a lot of people ask for simple things. My most popular wreath ever is a Christmas cat design, which is super simple. You can't believe, well, sometimes it's not quickly. If I had not ever made this wreath before, Cindy, I'm pretty sure that it would not be quickly. And also these pieces of mesh are smaller and really easy to put in. Sometimes people cut the mesh and cruffle it online, but these are much easier putting together than a ruffle or a pancake ruffle in terms of time. But I've made this wreath multiple times before. Hi, Yari, welcome. Yari is another wreath maker. She's just excellent, especially if you're a big bow fan or you like a lot of wreaths that are mesh but have a lot of beautiful ribbon and florals mixed in. So if you don't know, we wreath makers, most of us, have kind of a community and we can support each other and learn from each other. And I just absolutely love the other wreath maker. Oh, Cassie! Cassie, look at my shirt. I might have to get you one. I'm sorry. I thought about giving you this one, but it's so pretty. Yes, I do usually wear silly t-shirts, many of them from the 80s, so I know all my Gen X fans will recognize this. But like I said, Patty was on here. She's a big wreath maker. Yari is now on here from Yari's Touch, and Holly is on here as well. And I just adore their work and learn from them. I only knew how to make one wreath when I started my page, really. I knew how to do poofs, but I really had just made my first mesh wreath. I kind of did some different things. So I just have 2 rows left, but as you can tell, it almost looks done. Let me push these over. But I just want it to be very full with no gaps. My nail snagged on one of these, and so I have like a big thing in my nail, so I'm trying not to fray this too much. I hope 2 white ones are enough. I think so. So I'm almost done. Then I will show you what it looks like and clip the pipe cleaners. Unless Jen is interested in ribbon. I will show you what ribbon I would put in if I only had blue mesh. You can always use stars that you paint. Sometimes you see like sparkly stars. Some places like Dollar Tree or even Hobby Lobby and Michael's will have stuff like that. But you could also add ribbon to the blue section if you don't have this fabric-y mesh that I found at Michael's a few years ago. Like I said, I will check to see if they have it. I didn't get you one because honestly, sometimes when I order things that I see like in my ads, I'm not ever really sure that they're like legit, but I was about to copy it and paste the link to you, but then I lost it. So I'm going to go back and find it and get another one. Promise. I know it's not proper to have Xanadu wear without you also having it. Also, I'm wearing a bracelet by TLC Southern Glam and a turtle necklace by her as well. And these earrings are by a creator that I don't see anymore on Facebook, so I don't know if she has a shop. It was Designs by capital D, capital E, capital B, Designs by Deb. She had beautiful earrings. I don't know if her store is still open or not, but she was the first friend that I made here as a creator on Facebook. And I think she just probably took more time for her family, and that's why we don't see her out here anymore. But her earrings are beautiful. So all my jewelry that I'm wearing, I bought from people that I know from Facebook. And that's usually what I do. This is stuck because I'm on the last one. All right, we have one row of white left, and then we will be done. So apparently I had an extra red in case I messed it up. Yes, Holly's on here somewhere, Yari. And I missed her live last night, but Holly has got a great YouTube trying to get Yari to start going live and sharing how to make her beautiful bows and her beautiful wreaths. And all my friends and family who are on here, please remind me that I should probably go live at least every other Tuesday. I want to set that as a goal, so harass me about it. You're welcome to do that. I go on sporadically, really. And I get nervous, but then I realize that I'm a teacher. I'm a retired teacher. And I should be able to do this. And I love the sense of community when I'm on other people's lives, and I love learning things from them. So one more piece, and then we will be done. All right. See if I can get this in there. The last section was really hard to get in there, so if anybody tries something like this, let me know if working the whole outside row and then the whole inside row works better. I think it might, but I just never did it that way because I want to see the stripes immediately, like the full stripe. All right. So there she is. So you can tell that the blue part is maybe big, so you could take a couple of them out if you actually find this mesh and just want to use one roll. You could totally do that with 8 or 9 pieces. I'm going to get the ribbon I would use if I only had blue mesh, except it's not here. Yes, it is. Hold on. I'd probably use this, a couple of pieces of this if my mesh was just regular blue, or I would use wooden stars or some other stars to glue on top. I know Holly has done that before. You get them at Dollar Tree, or I have in the past, and you can get them at Hobby Lobby usually. Thank you, Yari. Thank you. Teresa, I really want to. I just get in these ruts where I don't do a lot, so I need it. It's a good schedule for me. I need to try to do it on Tuesdays. I'm not going to commit to every week, but I hope I can do at least every other week because I think that it would be good for me and it would help me connect with my followers more. Facebook is always yelling at me I don't have enough reels because when I get busy, I don't make them. Thank you, Cindy. So I'm just clipping the pipe cleaners. I'm leaving like a 1/2 inch to 1 inch and then twisting it and pushing it down. I know, Holly, you use the needle nose pliers to twist yours. I don't know where my needle nose pliers are, so I'm not going to do that, but I'm not going to make you watch me clip all these either because it doesn't really change the way it looks. So I'm going to show you the back. I apologize if there's any fraying on the back, but like I said, that's the back. So here's what the back looks like, and really this is how I figured out what I did last time, is by looking at the design on the back of my mother's wreath, where you can see all the pipe cleaners that attached it. So this is the back of it that gives the pattern. It's super simple. If you are interested, hopefully that was very easy to understand. I picked something simple today. I put rewind on there. I'm so glad that you went back and rewinded. Deb, the color coding is really because I knew I was going to mess up. And whenever you're alternating colors or doing colors in sections, I was not going to come up with this pattern properly if I did not color code them. So unless you have ribbons that are not going to match the color of your pipe cleaners, which I still do, if I have the pipe cleaners, I will color code because it helps me. So there she is. So thank you everyone for coming to see, and I will cut the rest of the pipe cleaners out and post it, even though you've seen my previous one on my page. I wanted people to see what the outcome was. Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Holly. Thank you, Cassie and Cindy and Teresa. You guys were such a great audience today. I appreciate you so much. I hope you learned something, but if not, I'm so welcome. I'm so excited that I had so many wonderful friends and supporters pop in today. Thank you so much.